totally different time. You get it. Those days your mother would just give you an eye and you know this is a problem.
Hey, there are visitors.
And it's just there are visitors
and
around.
Mom gives you this eye, you know?
Yes.
Catch more of this every Monday to Friday at 9 p.m.
A very good evening to you, esteemed viewer. Thank you so much for watching Church of Uganda Family TV. We smile because the joy of the Lord is our strength. And of course, we want to believe that the fact that you are listening to this voice and you are watching this image, God has protected you. God has been good to you. The fact that He has given you an opportunity to live again and to see the beauty of today. Of course, we know that day is almost we are almost retiring, but we want to thank God at least for the day it was. This is Family Hour. Today is our Wednesday edition. Edrine Ostten Mukalazi is my name. Of course, we know that we are in the last month of the first half of the year. That is June. So very soon we shall be starting the other half of the year. However, if we get into the financial year, this is still the last month of the financial year 2024-2025. Of course, we expect the president to address the nation tomorrow, if nothing changes. But tomorrow, 5th, we expect the State of Nation address, and you know these are events that take us up to the reading of the budget. So we are waiting for the reading of the budget of the financial year 2025-2026. But to us who still consider our year from January to December, it's important that at this time we check out and evaluate how the first half has been. Of course, this is a time of planning for the next half of the year, and that is what we are going to talk about today. We are going to talk about smart financial planning for the rest of the year, for the rest of the 6 months that are left to wind up this year 2026. With us is Dr. Benita Rumanzi from the Africa Population Institute. Good evening, Doctor.
Good evening, Edrine.
It's been a while.
Yeah, for sure it's been a while. And I have been in the constituency, you know.
Okay.
Even to Vituba. Yes.
Okay.
We have been in the constituency trying to solicit for votes. You know, I'm the upcoming member of parliament for Chiga County, which is also Chiga district. So, good evening, viewers. I'm glad to be here once again. I think I was here at the beginning of this year, and we are still talking about planning for the new year. So I have come for a review to know how far have my clients gone and how far do they want to go in order to complete this year strong. But I believe that whoever is under the sound of our voice today, we will learn something that he will take away home, that it will help them to finish this year stronger than they began.
Amen. Amen. We want to look at smart financial planning for the rest of the year. But let us make a review, especially of what we talked about earlier, as we were talking about how someone can plan, because we had that program, I think, around January. As we are so fresh into the year, we wanted to look at, how someone can plan for the year. And we believe that those who worked with us laid down some strategies, laid down plans on how they can achieve. Before we get into planning for the rest of the year, let us start from how someone can evaluate whether they are still on track or they are off track, and so they should rechannel their vision.
Okay. At the beginning of this year, remember, we are here to help people set resolutions, to come up with resolutions that are smart, that are specific, achievable, measurable, so that at the end of the year they can be able to track and say, this is what I intended to achieve. And again, we told to them that they need to do like a monthly review to know how to go about it. Every month you know, what have I accomplished and what is still pending. Then you prioritize. We talked of making like a scale of preference, like making an order on which you want your wants to be certified, on which you want to achieve your goals. Which goals do you begin with, and which one are long-term or short-term? So we helped people to understand that if you are dealing with a year has 365 days or sometimes 366. But if you are not careful, a year will bypass you or you will bypass the year. So all you have to do is that at the beginning of the year, make your resolutions, like we said. Like me, I made achievable resolutions. So right now I go through and I'm like marking. This one I'm 50% done, or this one I haven't tackled it, or this one I'm done with it. And that one will help you to review the past 6 months or 5 months that you have completed. And as tomorrow is the State of the Nation address, we expect, like even the government had the yardstick they were following. We expect our president to come up and tell us what the country has achieved in the past financial year, which is 2024 stroke 25. So we are now going to begin a new financial year, which is 25-26. And we expect also to be budgeting. Yeah, that's the time we are going to do the budgeting. So this year is this month of June is basically a financial month, because we are transiting from the past financial year to the new financial year. And we also need to know what is your tax obligation. Tomorrow you need to listen to what the president has to say, because some of the things may change. So as you plan, you align your plan to the national strategic plan, and then you are sure that you are not going to have errors in your own plan. See, you can make individual plans for those who are like do not have companies you are running, or you can make and refocus your company's plan. And then later on, let it feed into the national strategic plan. Because here we are looking at things that affect the nation, be it inflation, be it taxes, be it like right now we are in the campaigns. And in the campaigns, you know, many people dash out a lot of money. So, and there is a lot of money in saturation. And because of that, it has caused inflation. That's why you see the skyrocketing of prices. So to now, when you're planning, it's high time you planned very well. I was looking in my programs. In most cases, many people usually buy like cars. Let me use an example of cars. They usually buy cars around November, October there. And those cars, the reason they are buying them maybe December. The reason they are buying them is that they want to go to the village when they are literally looking different. Yeah, I've been working for a whole year, and now I want to go and show people that I'm working. That's a time when maybe women work on their hair. That's a time when people are spending highly. That is October, November, December. So right now, if you don't plan, you may not be at the drawing board at that time. So you better plan ahead of time. But I would also advise, like financially, as I'm a financial advisor, I advise the young people, let them not be proactive purchasers. If you really want to buy a car, can't you wait and buy it in January? Because I'm sure there are many people who come back and now they are broke and they want to do what?
They want to sell off.
They want to sell off their cars. Then in January, that's when we have the Basama going back. You know, November, December, we have the Basama coming in. You know the Basama, what I mean? Those diasporians. When they come back, that's the time when they come with a lot of money to invest in the economy. And they end up now hiking the prices probably of those cars. So why can't you wait and say, mine I'll buy it in January when they are going back? Because someone can come and buy a car today, ngeri kunamba, as like brand new. Then after 1 month of driving it, he wants to sell it and go back probably to his job or whatever. So what you have to do, this is a financial advice. Please, when other people are buying a lot of things for you, try to save your money and invest it in some productive venture. And thereafter, you will thank me later.
Okay, this is a good one. It has given us a very good preamble for our discussion today. But also, before we get into the smart financial planning, is it advisable, now that you're a financial advisor, is it advisable for someone to start a new a new project, it be a business, it be in this time, for example, between now and the rest of the months to end this year, all it was supposed to be done in January or the first quarter of the year?
Actually, this is the right time for people to begin businesses because, as we said, this is the financial year. Okay. Actually, January was just in the middle of the year, the financial year 2024-2025. Now, the beginning of the year 2025-2026 financial year, it's when people are going to begin new ventures because the budget is going to be read. And when the budget is read, don't just hear the numbers. Look at the opportunities and the avenues where you can invest. Or look at where much money has been allocated, and then you know that I can tap into that. If I hear that in agriculture or agribusiness, they have invested probably the biggest portion of the budget, then I will know that if I go into agribusiness, I will not make a wrong decision. So let me tell you, this is the time when people are supposed to change and shift their mindset. If you have not achieved much from January to May, then you can reorganize and begin afresh. Okay. In this month of June, maybe as July kicks in. Okay. And then you reorganize yourself. At the end of the day, you will see the fruits of your planning.
Now, as we get into the new financial year, or as we get into the other part of the year, we want to look at, like I said earlier, we are looking at smart financial planning. But someone really want to, because we've heard about this financial planning. But what is smart financial planning?
Yeah, smart financial planning. Of course, anything smart is something good, right? Okay. Yeah, something that is smart is good. If someone says you're smart, it means you're looking good anyway. So if you're going to make a good financial planning, we call it SMART. But SMART is basically an acronym that we use, which means something that is specific, realistic, achievable, and time-bound. Right now, we are looking at the time that is ticking. We are coming to the end of the year. Maybe there's someone who set very optimistic kind of resolutions. And right now they are feeling downcast. They are like, no, I haven't achieved any. Will I achieve much in the next financial year? Or will I achieve much in the next semester of the year? So this is the right time to reorganize. If you set the ambitious over ambition, like a lot of resolutions that cannot be achieved, you can re-edit them right now. Then maybe you were very ambitious that I am going to acquire a home in this year. And you see the year has already gone halfway and probably you haven't even broken the ground to begin laying the foundation. You feel discouraged. But that is like over-ambitious kind of, based on finances. I would call it over-ambitious because there are people who started the house in January and right now it is done. But it depends, it must be commensurate to your income. When you're planning, know that this is where I get the money and this is how much I get. Plan according to the budget. Plan according to how much you earn. Then I would also advise, there are people who have side hustles, there are people who have other side businesses, but all of that you need to compound it together and know if at the end of the month, how much am I worth? How much am I earning? Then plan according to that. Not only on the salary that you're getting, not only maybe from one business, but I would ask people to diversify and have multifaceted kind of sources of income so that you don't rely on one. So when we go down into the smart tips, maybe people will learn how not to make exaggerate their kind of ambitions, and at the end of the day they become frustrated. Okay. You need to be motivated. You need to be encouraged. It is possible. Yes, you can make it. So let's make smart kind of financial decisions that will help us achieve that. Even if you don't achieve 100%, but you are in the 90s, a 90 is an A. An A plus, or it is a distinction. Yes, so be encouraged.
Okay, so you talked about smart tips, and I think let's still get into the smart tips, and later we shall look at why this is really why it is a very important approach, especially as we approach the end of year, but also as a mid-year or something like that.
Yeah, as like for us, our duty is to educate nationals. Because I believe that most people don't get a chance to sit under the motivational speakers or to sit in the lecture rooms to learn these things. But financial literacy is the key. Once you know or you master your finances, even if you don't have a PhD, even if you don't have a degree, you'll succeed in life. Because I have seen people who are very successful are not professors. Even the professor of economics in the country is not the richest. There are people who have never been far in school, but they are doing very well financially because they mastered the art of money, the art of managing their finances. So I want to thank Church of Uganda Family TV for giving us this program, the family and health. Family wealth and finances, because I know that there are many people whose lives are being transformed by these lectures that we give for free. Of course, they are not paying, but once you sit on your TV, you are able to learn, because Church of Uganda is adding value on your life. Yes. So when we look at those programs that we have to look, let's tailor them to the next 6 months. We tailor those objectives or those programs to the next 6 months. So if you're there watching us, please create a 6 months plan. If you have a pen and a paper, please create a 6 months plan. And a plan for finances is called a budget. Budget for the next 6 months. Track your income and expenses and identify areas of improvement. If your expense is beyond your income, then you are living in a deficit. And very soon you are going to start borrowing. And very soon you are going to be indebted. So please, we encourage you, cut the expenses as much as you can and try to increase your income as much as you can. So that at the end of the day, you strike a balance. Income must exceed the expense, so that at the end of the day you have a take home as a saving. Okay, you're getting that? Yeah. So again, build a hedge fund, which we call an emergency fund. Most people, they like, I will use Uganda because there are some people out there, they like what we call a mereyalero. Zenkora zenya.
And some people have termed themselves, have attached themselves to that category. Febankola mereyalero.
And that is a pity party. You are trying to say, me, that's what I do. But at the end of the day, have you ever realized if you're going maybe on a border and your legs are broken and you're hanging in Morago, or you lose that job that you are doing, or probably things change, like KCCA comes and he puts a few things, adjustments in the system, and you are no longer having that store that you are having. So please, let's have a financial focus. As you're planning for an emergency. If at all you are no longer in that position, are you able to sustain yourself for the next 1 or 2 or 3 months? And you see, it is. I love Uganda. Uganda is not like Kenya, because in Kenya, it is every man for himself and good for us all. And like here in Uganda, whereby you can be, our president said it is only in Uganda whereby you can be full and still survive, because there are people who will always help you with the food or with the clothing, with the shelter. You can go to your uncle's place and stay there. But in some places where you go and they will ask you, when are you leaving? You have just come to visit us, so tell us, what is your plan? What is your program? When are you leaving? But in Uganda, you can survive. But despite that, please, let's plan effectively. And you know that at least I have a living living expense for the next 1 to 3 months. Then, number 3 is always prioritize to pay off the debts. There are people who keep compounding debts. Today you borrow from Edrine, tomorrow you borrow from someone else, tomorrow you borrow from Rumanzi. At the end of the day, the debt is increasing. And in most cases, people who borrow, they are living beyond their means. I have seen people, like someone who can borrow to buy a tie, tie. Little did they know that even the person they are borrowing from probably has saved that money for something else. So one I have seen is that it is like a habit for people to be factual borrowers. Like always, whatever you need, you just run to the shop and pick it. Whatever you need, you just pick it, without considering where you're going to get the money to pay back. So that's why people have ended up being very much indebted. So to avoid that, please try as much as you can to avoid incurring a debt. Because you can come and borrow from me today 30,000, and if you don't pay it back, I will note you in my book that you are a bad debtor, and you will never get any money from me again, even when I have it. But if I borrow 30,000 and you pay it back, then I will know that this one, then I can try you with 50. If you pay it back, then I can try you with 100. That's how people end up. So borrowing is not sustainable. You can borrow from ABC, but at the end of the day, they will build a hedge around you. You will never borrow from them again. So try your level best to pay those with small, minor, you call minor debts. Clear them off. Then also pay the bigger debts. Be like Okonko in the book Things Fall Apart by Kenwa Chebe. If you have any money that you owe anyone, please clear it, beginning from the big ones and to the smallest debt. Sometimes people give you money when you have not written anywhere. A case reference, I will use my personal example this year. This year when we are building a school in Western Uganda, Chiga College Bushari, that school, very many people trusted me because they knew I was credit worthy. So they trusted me. I would go to the hardware, pick as much cement as I can. I go to the hardware, pick the iron sheets. I go to the hardware, and even the person who was driving the things to the site would take them for free. And me, I was like, yes, I know I will pay. But at the end of the day, I found that I had debt when the school opened. I expected like the school is going to open and then you get the money and clear them. But when the school opened, it was the other way around. I mean, it never turned out the way you expected. But you must be having another plan B on how to pay the people. So I found that I was indebted almost 90 million. Wow. Uganda shillings. I'm like, how am I going to pay this money? But because I was credit worthy, I was like, it had to pinch me as a person. I must struggle and look for the money to pay these people. But another person who would now say, probably we never wrote anywhere, we never signed any contract, therefore I will not pay.
And actually that is a common voice among people. Someone would say, do you have proof that you're demanding me that money?
But tomorrow you need this person again. You need this person again if you don't pay their money. So I had a trip and I left for the US. You remember when I left here in January? Yes. I left for the US and I'm like, but I'm in the US right now. And these guys, I have their money, their debts. I mean, what am I going to do? But I made sure that I signed like post-dated checks, and I had to put standing orders so that whichever money maybe comes from rentals or whatever goes to this. And I had to balance all the people to make sure that whenever I got like maybe say 10 million, I would distribute it to all of them so that you don't pay one off and then the other one is still like burdened. So you make that scale. I'm paying this one this, so I would distribute that money. But as I talk right now, the debt is cleared. So that means it is now that credit worthiness. Even if I go back, like I have another big project to do, I'm sure these people will not hesitate to give me whatever I demand, because I had to do that. So that's why we say pay off high interest debts and focus on those loans that have high interests. If you know that, like now I would have gone to get a loan, but thank God I didn't go for the loan, because I had that credibility. They call it credibility, that people can trust you and give you things. So if I was to borrow that 90 million worth of maybe money to buy such stuff that I used, probably the interest would have been 100 and what? 20 million. Maybe I would have added 30. So in that case, when you have a good credible record of credit worthiness, then you even save much more money.
Doctor, let's take a short commercial break. When we return, we are going to continue with the conversation. Stick with us. Welcome back from the commercial break. This is Family Hour. We are talking about smart financial planning, and I just remembered someone who didn't want to pay their debtors, and so he kept on reminding them. Do you see that one? That one is demanding me actually a lot of money, but they have not even come here. But for you, so you look at the list and see where you belong. But anyway, our doctor before the break was reminding us to always pay off the debts. And doctor, you are saying, you are talking about something to do with interest and why it is really important for people to clear off these debts, because you realize people have resorted to taking loans as the only option they have for financial rescue. But even then, you find very many properties that are written on bank property on sale. When you get to the money lenders, you find them keeping a lot of stuff for people simply because they have not paid. And then there are now these other loans on phone and apps. And then they will call all your relatives. Hello, so-and-so took a loan and they have not paid. And then, I mean, why is it important to clear off your loans in the time and the debts in the right time when you're supposed to?
Actually, those debts, when you realize how those debts were accrued, it comes as a result of like living not within your means. Okay. Maybe like you've taken your children to a higher school whereby they pay a lot of money. Yet there are other affordable schools. And you want just to be happy to say that my children go to a very expensive what? School. And that one gives you pride. But then you forget to know that at the end of the day, this is going to make you lose credibility by overspending and beyond your income. Okay? So right now, I would advise those people to review their income vis-a-vis their expense. Then they say, let's review and adjust our expenses. Cut on non-essential spending. That spending that you want to show off, cut it off and then clear the dates. If I can't afford this school, I will leave it, then I will go to a minimum school. Like I said, at Chiga College Bushari, we've put the tuition to be almost like maybe less than $50 Uganda shillings. Less than $50 or less than 200,000 Uganda shillings. And still, there are people who say, that school is too cheap. They want to take their children to what? A higher school. And at the end of the day, it costs them a lot. And you find the people are selling their little properties in order to live the standard they cannot afford. Then you said when you go to the money lenders, you realize that they have a lot of properties that they are ready to dispose of. Yeah. I have known people who lost their prime properties at just giveaway prices. A property that was supposed to be probably like $500 million shillings is sold at 200 million shillings simply because it is called forced sale. Because now you put it in the bank, borrowed probably 100 million, and because you can't pay back that 100 million, after a period of 5 years, it has accrued to probably 300 million, and the bank wants its money. And what they will do, they will dispose of your property at 300 million and excluding what you have already paid. Because for them, they want to cover their money. Maybe if you have already paid back 100, they will sell it at 200. You will end up losing your property, which is $500 million. I think I'm using figures that people can understand here. So let's strive to increase our income. How do you increase the income? Let's have side hustles. I know many people have time, extra time. If you have extra time, there is a saying that goes in English that time is what? Money. Is money. So if you have time, then utilize that time to make extra money. Don't just go and sleep. Even the Bible says it, that a little sleep or slumber makes a man what? Makes poverty to come in like armed robber.
Yeah.
So if you oversleep, then you know that you are sleeping on your finances. We have freelance work, whereby you can part-time. Edrine, you can live here TV, then you have your other business aside, then you can come to API and say, I want to have a lecture to teach people media in the evening. Because you know that Dr. Ben, I know him, you can come to Africa Population Institute and ask for a position of a lecturer to teach media in the evening. Have you ever done that, Edrine? No. So, but I'm just giving a tip.
Yes,
but that's the thing that people can do. Then ask for a rise. So try to raise your standard and your value in order to understand that when you brand yourself very well, you'll be marketable in the marketplace, and the people will look for you, and you'll become the desire of people. Then would also say you invest and grow. The little money that you get, don't just keep it like that. Invest it, multiply it. There is always a multiplier effect once you invest the money, and invest in ventures that bring money. But don't haste to be rich. Don't rush to be what? Rich. Quest to be rich quickly. You know, in my book, the beating the odds, the unlimited, the key to success. There is a whole chapter that I dedicated to people who want to become rich very fast. And that chapter was telling them that not everything that glitters is gold. In most cases, people who come to you and they are telling you something that is very cosmetic, how you're going to become rich so fast, first look at them and say, how are they living their life? So I will not discredit one of the network marketing company around. I will not mention its name, but ideally, that one I thank them very much, because when I finished the university, the first company to come to me to tell me how I'm going to become rich very fast, they came where they used to train us around Uganda, Bank of Uganda behind there. So they told me how I'm going to become very rich very fast. And one day there is a certain gentleman who used to come with a pink shirt and a black trouser and a very nice shoe. And he would come and tell us how they have an experience, how they have traveled to South Africa, how they have gone to many places and made money. Then one day, I'm like, I desire to be like this man. Then when we finished one day, after like maybe a series of following him for like 3 months, I said, let me go and see the car he drives, so that I can confirm if he walks the talk. To reach there, the guy reached the basement, he moved, I was following him across there until we went to the park together downtown here. And I realized this guy is not driving the car, he has been telling us, why is he boarding a taxi with us? So the next day, there is a certain woman, she was big in size. So one day, I got her at one day girl. I had also gone to the Kafunda to drink some juice there and eat there. I got that woman there with the akafufu. She had worked for a long time and she was selling these kind of things products they talked about. And I'm like, oh, so this is a scam. I saw it as a scam. I said, to hell with it. Since then, I said, I will never have to be rich like these guys are telling us. Let me grow naturally. And since then, I made a decision never to join any network marketing. And because of that, I'm telling you, I've never gone wrong. And I can comfortably say, no one takes my money for free. If I give it to you, you know that I've desired to give it to you. But you will not come and con me by those cosmetic and sugar-coated stuff that you'll tell me. I'm not easily lured into it.
And when you talk about people getting side hustles, there is a trend Of course, if we remember, I think we can now openly talk about Capital Chicken because it was all over the news that came out and told people, we rear for you the chicken, all that. But there are also very many people who come to say, no, you give us your money, we buy for you this, we do for you this, and then for you just sit there. What do you say about that? So some look like Ponzi schemes. Some we don't know how real they are. But I mean, when someone blocks your involvement in what we would have called a hustle, what is your advice on that?
Yeah, it happens, especially people who are highly effective. They always want to put others down. But you know that it is said in the word of God that whatever man soweth is what he reapeth, and no one is on the top. So in most cases, when you block someone from reaching their destiny, somewhere, somehow, yours, you may think that you've already reached your destiny. But at the end of it all, you don't know that maybe your child or your son or whatever will also follow the culprit. So in most cases, you have to make sure that you do the right thing. Always endeavor to do the right thing at the right time. And there you are telling people that whatever I am doing, it is worthwhile and I must earn from it. So if I earn from it, I don't want to sabotage others. Because there is always much water at the well. So you can go and pick using your container. Someone who can go with a bigger container and picks much. Another one who can go with a less container or a smaller one and picks whatever they can afford. But God has allowed the rain to fall on everyone, whether good or bad. So in that case, I wouldn't literally give my piercing comment on it, but I would say those who are trying to sabotage others should stop, because you will not reach far by making or by smearing mud on you. It would not make me look cleaner. You understand? So it is not good to wash your dirty linen in the public.
Doctor, we're still talking about, you are still telling us about the tips. And let us finalize with the tips. If we have any more time, then we shall look at something else.
Okay. So I had just someone has just sent me a message here, and it was like, okay, tell us about how you begin small. Okay, start small and invest in a fixed amount regularly. Like you can say, these days I have had many people go to More Cash. You know, More Cash is we are not advertising for MTN, but More Cash has saved very many people. And for them, if they know that you are credit worthy, they can give you as much money as you can. And you can, it is just at the click of what? A phone. But at the end of the day, you have to pay that money, and its interest rate is 90% per month. So the more money you get, the more money you'll pay them back. Okay? So invest the little that you have. But in that More Cash, which I said, there is where you click and you allow like automatic saving. So that when you have money on your mobile phone, somewhere, somehow, it goes that side. And maybe when you least expect that you don't even have money, you check there and you find what? You find the money there. So that one, maybe the person who just sent me an SMS, I would advise them what you have to do. Just have that saving culture. Don't eat all the food. Even our grandmothers and our mothers in the village, what they did whenever they harvested beans or maize or whatever, they would put aside a few pieces, and they say this is for the next what? Seed. Next season. So they make sure you eat everything, and once what you're eating is done, even if you are dying, she will not allow you to eat what?
The
to
seed.
eat the seed. So can we borrow from them? You know, they never went to school, they didn't go very far. Can we borrow from them and say, no, let's also have money that we call a seed? Not a seed to give probably somewhere, but a seed that you keep so that it can regenerate itself
Seed
and
capital.
give you seed capital that can regenerate itself and give you like returns. So explore low risk options and consider the money market funds, e.g. like bonds and treasury bills. In the next financial year, buy them. Someone who has money that is seated on the account can decide to fix it and they say at the end of the year, let me fix it for the next 6 months and I'll get it in December. When others are hustling for Christmas, this guy he will be having his money. So you can also put it in the treasury bills, you can put it in the bonds, and money makes more money for you. That's how you invest in order to grow. Then the final tip is about regular checks. Like I said when we are beginning, when we made our resolutions at the beginning of this year, we wrote them down. Right now, revisit that page and see what you have achieved. And what is not yet achieved, that one, don't beat yourself. Don't say, don't curse yourself. Just be happy and know that, yes, I have not achieved all, but at least this is what I've done. If you have not achieved anything, still go back to the drawing board. Maybe you stretched. Try to minimize and see how it can go. So those monthly review, track the progress. You can still adjust the budget as the national budget is going to be read. Then you adjust accordingly and then celebrate the success. However little it is, celebrate it. Be happy. There is a scripture that is in Deuteronomy that says that because you have not served the Lord your God with gladness of heart, that's why God has cast you. So be happy with the little that you have. Be happy with the small success that you have had. And there, God has commanded what? A greater blessing for you. And then you do quarterly assessments. So far we can say we have completed the 2 quarters, and therefore we still have 2 more quarters to finish the year. So evaluate the progress towards the long-term goals that you made. You must have made a goal of what you want to achieve at the end of the year. So let's deal with that. But there are some things that I really want to summarize for them so that they can understand. So for the beginning, we said, let's make a budget. Yeah. And in the budget, let's track our income and expenses. And let's categorize our needs and wants. There's a difference between a need and a want. A need is something that you can't do without. But a want, I can decide to, it means I need it, I want it, but it is not very much necessary. So can we make that prioritization? And you say, no, let me begin with this one because it's the most pressing and is necessary. And I talked about setting financial goals. And I talked about emergency fund, whereby you need to set aside some money based on the fact that if you are no longer active in a service, if you are no longer working, what do you have to do or how will you survive? Then debt management. Please make sure that you pay off the debts so that you become clean. And at the end of the day, invest the little that you have. Invest the money. Some people think that investment is a lot of money. Someone who can invest 100,000 in a business venture, and at the end of the day, it makes money. How much money do you need to start a chapati store? And yet you are sure that as long as the earth endures, people will always eat. People will always eat chapati. Yeah. So if you look at a place where where there are many people, then you establish, first of all, you will have helped that young man or young girl to get a job, and you also be making a side income. Then this one is long term. As you are planning, you also plan for your retirement, because you know that you are not going to stay in active for the rest of your life. So all your goals should focus on when you are no longer working, much as you are planning for 6 months, but also have that in mind. Then there are people I would encourage to do insurance. Insurance, people look at it as something like not worthwhile. Why do I spend money? But in a case you have invested in a building like this church house, and you don't insure it, in the case of fire, will you put it back? So you have to insure it against burglary, against fire, against whatever. So you insure. Then there's also life insurance. You can also insure yourself, or health insurance in case you are no longer active. So it is also one way of dealing with your finances. Then financial literacy, please educate yourself on managing finances. Always look for financial advisors. We are just a call away. If you have money, even if you have debts and there are so many and you don't know how to deal with them, reach out to us or reach out to a financial advisor. He will help you on how you can come out of it. There are people who commit suicide. Don't die alone. Don't commit suicide because you have a lot of debts. There is always a way out. The way you entered it is the way you can come out of it. It is a trap that you can escape. Then set your goals based on the planning, how you do it. So identify specific goals, and those goals must be goals towards freedom. You can't continue paying your rent for the rest of your life. Can you have a goal of having your own home? Okay? Can you create the tailored plan, the plan that is suitable for you as an individual or as a family? We are talking about family finances and wealth. Whatever you're doing, involve your family. Let your wife be in the know. Let your husband be in the know. Let your children be in the know of the financial decisions that you make. Because in most cases, when you don't involve them, that's when even the fraudsters can easily infiltrate you. And they come and ask you, and then you make a decision as one person. But when you share it with the third party, probably they will find them when they are sober more than you are. Then they can tell you, but go slow on this. Anything can happen. And that's how you solve it. Then regularly review and adjust. Please don't be fixed. Because when you fix yourself, you can, at the end of the day, break. Always have a room for adjustment. If I tried it 6 months ago and I failed, right now I can change it and do something about it, adjust it. Okay. Yeah.
Doctor, in a minute, give us your closing remarks as we wind up this discussion.
Okay, the closing remarks, we have a take home. I would summarize it in three steps. One is, we say financial planning is a key, and it leads you to stability and security if you know how to manage your money very well. Then you can make a decision today to make smaller steps today that can lead you to significant benefit of tomorrow. Then always seek professional guidance from the people who understand money matters or financial matters so that they can help you. So I will not forget to tell you that as Pan-Africanists, we need to deal with the issues of IMF and the World Bank, and we know that in most cases their policies may not be very much favorable to us as Africans. But I love what this young man, the president of Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traoré, what he's doing. I commend what he's doing. So whoever is there, please follow and watch what the young man is doing, and we follow that. As Africans, we will be able to transform our continent.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rumanzi, and thank you so much to you, our viewer. I believe that, this was a learning platform. So we can choose to start either on a fresh page or to rebuild the broken walls so that we move forward. So it's been a pleasure knowing that you were following this program from where we started up to now. Edrine Ostten Mukalazi is my name. I've worked with Jonan and Muhumuza. We wish you a blessed night.
Family